I'm Dr. Manuel Saldivar. I'm a cognitive psychologist and a university faculty member. On this channel, I focus on ideas and concepts that will help you become more successful as a college student. Please join me for today's episode. As a new college student, it can be intimidating getting used to your new environment, especially if you're coming from a smaller high school. You may not be used to having classes with dozens or even hundreds of people. Certainly, as you walk around campus, you may realize that you're one of thousands or even tens of thousands of students. So it's natural to feel a little bit overwhelmed. But the takeaway I want you to have from today's episode is the idea that you're not in this alone. Colleges and universities, of course, differ from one to another, but all of them have a commitment to helping you succeed as a student. That's why they exist. And there are always places you can go to get help. You just need to be prepared to ask for help, to ask for guidance when you feel like you need it. Now, I'm going to discuss 5 offices, 5 departments that are available at every college or university to help you get assistance when you need it. Some of these departments or offices may be called something different, may have a different specific term or description at your particular college or university. But typically, if you refer to them the way that I will in this presentation, usually you will be understood and you can get directions to wherever you need to go. The first department or office that will exist at any college or university is an academic advising center. Now, this is a place where you can get assistance with matters related to degree planning. This means if you're majoring in psychology, for example, you're going to have a certain set of courses you have to take, typically in a certain order. If you're majoring in engineering, you'll have a certain set of courses to take, usually in a certain order. The same for business majors, the same for science majors, and so on and so forth. So these academic advising centers are there to help you with different aspects of degree planning, such as understanding what courses are required for a particular major. Of course, some majors, for example, may require you to take one math class versus another one, or one history class versus another. You can get this kind of clarification from your academic advisors. You can also get assistance with matters related to different academic procedures that you may have to go through as a college student, such as declaring a major, dropping a class, or other things related to stuff outside the classroom that still relates to your degree. Now, one final note before I move on. There are some colleges and universities that use a model or an approach where there's one academic advising center for the whole campus. So no matter what your major is, there's one location or a couple of locations where you would go to get assistance. Other universities, other colleges use a model where academic advisors are assigned to each major or each department. So if you're a business major, for example, you may have to go to some place in the College of Business at your university in order to get help with your questions. If you're not sure what approach your university uses, you can always contact either the Office of Admissions at your college. They would know, or you can call your colleges or universities' main switchboard, the main phone line, and ask to speak to an academic advisor, and typically they would be able to help you get sorted out. Another department or office that exists at every college or university is an Office of Financial Aid. In the United States, most financial aid is controlled at the federal level, so most grants that students might receive, and a grant is financial aid money that you do not have to pay back. Most student loans, and a loan is money you receive to help you pay for school that you will eventually have to pay back. Just to use 2 examples. Most grants, most student loans in the United States come from the federal government, and that means the federal government will have a lot of rules and regulations that colleges and universities have to follow. So that's why they'll have a financial aid office to help you as a student sort through all these different policies and procedures. Financial aid offices can help you with any questions you might have or any assistance you might need in terms of submitting your federal financial aid application. If you have a scholarship or want to apply for a scholarship, they can help with those kinds of questions. Financial aid offices also are involved in enforcing financial aid rules. For example, although the exact GPA may vary from school to school, typically any college or university will require that you maintain a certain minimum GPA in order to remain eligible for financial aid. A third office or department that any college or university will have to help you succeed as a student is the office of the registrar. This sounds kind of like a strange word, but it's an older English word that just means someone who helps keep records. So the registrar at a university or college is in charge of your student records as well as helping you enroll in courses. As you may know, at the high school level or in K-12, there's a guidance counselor or a principal or someone who basically gives you your schedule every year, and that's how you know what classes to take, who your teachers are when you're in high school or middle school. At the college level, you typically will need to register yourself for your courses. So this registration process that takes place every semester or every summer, depending on when you're going to class, will be handled by your registrar's office at your school. They can also help you with things related to degree audits. This means once you've been in college for a while and you feel like you're starting to get close to graduation, you want to confirm that you've gotten credit for whatever courses you've taken. If you have any course credits you're trying to transfer in, maybe you took college classes while you were in high school, over the summer at community college, or you might have taken dual enrollment classes, meaning you took classes in high school that counted both for college credit as well as for high school credit. If you want to make sure that all those records have caught up with you at your college, university, the registrar can help. And then finally, all your academic records, including your transcript, which is a document that lists all of the courses you've taken, all of your grades. If you ever need a copy of your transcript, perhaps to provide to someone who's might give you a scholarship. Some employers sometimes will ask for a transcript in order to confirm that you have whatever degree you say you have. If you transfer to a different university, or you're coming in from another university or college, you may need to get a copy of transcripts in order to send to one school or another. Your registrar is where you would get that kind of assistance. Sorry for the interruption, but if you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon for notifications. Fourth, a department or office that exists at just about every college university is a learning center, and sometimes separately a writing center. This is an office that often will have different names or be called different things at different schools. But if you just ask an academic advisor, for example, or even a professor about a learning center or writing center, typically they'll understand what you're asking. So learning and writing centers help with tutoring. So if you are taking a math class and you're struggling with some ideas in statistics or differential equations or whatever the topic of the math class is, you go to a learning center to get tutoring. The tutors typically are older students who are farther along in their degree. Typically they're either majoring in the subject they're tutoring, math, science, English, and or they have taken already a number of advanced math classes in this example, let's say, so they're familiar with the material, the ideas. They can give you one-on-one guidance. Learning and writing centers can also help you with what's called skill development. So a lot of skills you need to succeed in college aren't necessarily tied to one class or one course. They may apply to a number of courses. So examples are study skills, test-taking skills. Often learning and writing centers can help you with these kinds of needs. And then finally, a lot of learning and writing centers will help you with academic coaching, which is giving you guidance on specific projects or assignments that you're trying to work on. For example, at my university, we have a writing center that's separate from the learning center. The writing center will help students one-on-one with research papers or essays they may have to write for a particular course. So the tutor will not do your work for you, of course, but they can sit with you, either literally sit with you face-to-face or meet over online chat or even just discuss over email. And you can pass back and forth different drafts, different versions of an essay, of a research paper, and get paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence feedback from a writing tutor, in this example, to help you improve your work. Finally, every college university will have at least one library. Just FYI, some larger universities will actually have multiple libraries. There may be a library for science and engineering majors. There may be another library for art majors, and so forth. If you have any confusion, you can ask at the Academic Advising Center or ask at one library and find out if there are other libraries that exist on campus. But at the high school level, in particular, of course, students often do have experience with libraries, but you think of them as a place where books are stored. You can check out books. They may have magazines or other periodicals like newspapers. They may have reference materials, so things like encyclopedias, dictionaries, and certainly a college university library will have all of these things. But they'll also provide you, at the university level, you'll have access to academic journal databases. A database is just a record or a file that has information. So academic journals are periodicals. You can think of them, I guess, as magazines, either paper magazines or online magazines that only publish research articles. I'll discuss this in other episodes in this video series, especially my episode on professors. But here I'll just state briefly that the main reason why at the university level the people who teach you are called professors and not teachers the way they are in high school or K-12 is because at the university level the people teaching you are not just teachers. They're also researchers. They also conduct research, conduct scholarship in whatever their area of expertise is, science, math, art, whatever. At the college level, you'll have many professors that will expect you to write research papers that refer to articles from scholarly research journals. So if you don't know how to access these, you will be at a disadvantage. It'll be harder for you to write your papers properly, and the library at your college university can help you figure out how to access these scholarly journal databases. One thing I want to emphasize here before I conclude this episode is the idea of self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency just means doing for yourself the things you can do for yourself. Self-sufficiency does not mean that you are on your own. It does not mean that you should go away and not bother people or ask questions. But as a college student, as a young adult, you're expected to be self-sufficient. So this means, for example, let's say you have decided to major in psychology. And so you made a decision, you want to be a psychology major. For sure, in modern times, your college, university will have information on their website. They may also have brochures or pamphlets, materials you can pick up and take away, or even be emailed to you that discuss what are the rules, regulations, what classes do you need, what stuff do you have to do in order to earn a degree in psychology from this college or university. A self-sufficient student would read these materials, try and become as familiar with them as possible, and inevitably you might have some questions, some areas where you're unclear about what to do or how to do things, which is fine. And then at that point, after you have educated yourself, after you've learned as much as you could on your own and developed specific questions, then you can go to, let's say, an academic advisor and ask these detailed questions and get guidance so that you know what it takes in order to earn a psychology degree from a particular college. A student who's not self-sufficient may not do any of these things, may not do any of this research or background reading, and just walk into an advisor's office and say, I want to be a psychology major, tell me what to do. Now, needing help or feeling confused is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to be self-sufficient, not because your academic advisors, your professors want to create work for you, but because, of course, no one can know your life as well as you know your life. No one can know your situation as well as you can. And so by being self-sufficient, and in this example, let's stick with the example of figuring out what it takes to earn a degree in a certain major. Let's say you have decided on a major that for whatever reason, and this, by the way, is a real example. I can think of a number of majors like this. Let's say you settle on a major that requires you as a student to take classes during the summer. But in your life, in your own situation, you can't do that for whatever reason. Maybe you have to work over the summer in order to help support your family financially. Maybe over the summer you have younger siblings who are not in school, and your parents might expect you to stay home and watch your younger siblings. Maybe you have older relatives, grandma, grandpa, that need help, and you might be expected by your parents, by your family, to help take care of grandma and grandpa because they need assistance. In this case, you may not be able to take classes over the summer. This doesn't mean necessarily that you should abandon that major, but if you are aware, because you've been self-sufficient, because you've looked into what it takes to get a certain major, and you found out, you discovered, hey, I've got to take classes over the summer, and you realize that this would be a challenge for you in your own personal case because of your life situation, then a self-sufficient student would be able to go to an advisor and say, look, I've done the reading, I've researched what it takes to major in this major, to get a degree in this major at this university, but I can't take summer classes. What can I do? What are my options? What are some things that I can do to try and still get a degree in this major, but not have to take summer classes? And there would be options. You maybe have to take more classes during the fall or spring semesters. Maybe take more classes so you're graduating over a longer period of time, but you're still able to do the major. Typically, there may be multiple options. But if you had not done the research in this example and figured out how the need to take summer classes worked into your particular degree plan, if you had just gone to an advisor and said, okay, tell me what to do, then your advisor probably would have done their best, not knowing your life, and they may have given you not the best advice because they didn't know your life. So again, the takeaway to all this is self-sufficiency is not about go away, don't ask questions, don't bother anyone. Self-sufficiency is about do as much as you can for yourself, and then when you have questions, when you need more information, when you have challenges, you can go to get help, let's say from an academic advisor, with specific questions instead of going in and saying, tell me what to do. So to review, in today's episode, we've talked about issues related to connecting to college resources. We discussed the fact that college is a serious thing. You want to take it seriously, but it is not something where you have to do everything on your own. You are not alone. There are places you can go for help, and we've discussed a number of places, and there are no doubt others that also exist at your particular college or university. But typically, if you start with these 5 departments, 5 offices that I've described, if you have questions or need assistance that they can't provide, they can typically help you figure out where to go on your particular campus. And then finally, we discussed the importance of self-sufficiency, and the biggest takeaway here is that self-sufficient students are not on their own. They don't believe that they're just abandoned, that they're just a number, but they do for themselves what they can do, and when they need assistance, they're not afraid to ask for help. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll click on the thumbs up icon below, and if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications by clicking on the bell icon. YouTube will notify you of future videos added to this channel. Remember, college success is challenging, it takes work and effort, but it is certainly within your grasp. Good luck.